Hello and welcome back to the Can I Get a Refill podcast. We are joined by an international guest today. We're talking self-acceptance and self-love with hypnotherapist, intuitive empath, and soon-to-be fellow podcast host, Karen Blaine. Karen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here with you.
It's exciting. And I was just saying how beautiful that backdrop looks behind you, that beautiful window. It almost looks like a church or something. It's very spiritual, very apt for the conversation we're about to have.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
which city are you in, Karen? I didn't even ask that.
I don't know if you know Hermosa Beach.
I don't. Which
It's
state?
I'm in California.
California. Beautiful. So it's always warm there, right?
Yeah, most of the time.
Lucky
Little overcast
you.
today, actually. So
Is it? We're going to jump straight into it. We have lots to talk about. But before we do, I just wanted to point out for the listeners on YouTube your wonderful book, You Are Not Alone, Your Journey to Self-Love, that I just recently read. And you were just telling me you're about to write you're in the middle of writing your eighth book. How fantastic.
thank you very
Yeah,
much.
I'll put all the links in the show notes for all your books for everyone. But could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you do and what led you to writing books such as this and the eighth book you're writing now?
Sure. What led me to it was I'll start at the I'll make a fast start at the beginning. Um, Growing up, I always felt a little bit different than the other kids my age. And I would ask the people that my family of origin is how I call them. I would say, I feel different. I'm having some trouble, getting along with everybody. And they would say, toughen up, strengthen up, you need to uh, just get over it. And lots of comments like that. So I began to think there was something wrong with me. I'm just going to
Yeah.
cut it short. I got married early. I was 21 when I got married, and I had 4 kids in a row because I really wanted to. I felt like I could have them adapt to all the love I had in me, which was just so much. And I had been told it I needed too much love, but I didn't believe that I did. I just thought the having babies, how can any baby or child need too much love? I just didn't believe that. So the kids grew up, empty nest syndrome. I know you have a 1-year-old, and so
Yeah, it's very different, but yeah, I imagine that would be very, very tough.
it was really hard. My 8th book is about that.
Is
After they
it?
fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cathartic for me too to write these books, but I hope they help others. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I felt most connected with you in that book was that exact thing where you were saying you felt a bit different. And I have always said that any sort of spiritual being or someone who is very in touch with the spirituality always feels a little bit like they don't belong. And when I was young, I was seemingly popular. I mean, in primary school I was, and then you're the big fish in a small pond. Then I went to a performing arts high school in a very trendy area, and I think I was very little fish in a very big pond. And I remember like jigging school and hiding in a public toilet reading books at
same
the train
here.
station because I felt just so
I thought I was
like
the
I
only
didn't
one
belong.
that it ever happened to.
Yeah, so did I. But do you know what I realize now looking back? I think I just had low self-esteem and I didn't have the relationship with self. And I think since 2011 and I've been on a real quest to building that relationship with self. And now I still get anxiety sometimes in big groups, but I'm very comfortable in most settings and scenarios purely because I have that relationship with self. And that's the most important relationship because as you go on into other lives, it's the only one guaranteed, isn't it?
How do you think you started to develop it? I'm always curious.
I find there's always something bad happens to you to be the catalyst to growth. And I was in a violent relationship for 5 years in my 20s, and I left him late 2010. And I sort of was setting up the pathway whilst I was still with him. I booked my little Eat, Pray, Love, Italy Contiki tour, and I
Very interesting.
started
Good.
back into singing and was, doing things for myself and really so by the time I left him, I had already set up that life and I did, meditation courses and therapy. I just did anything and everything, energetic healing. anything to sort of strengthen my relationship with self. But I'm actually writing an ebook at the moment. The number one thing I think I did was I dated myself, and I took myself out on dates a lot. And I just,
Beautiful.
yeah, I always recommend that to every woman. I've the only one I hadn't done was a music concert on my own, which I've recently done. But always taking myself to the movies, always taking myself out to this beautiful park in the city with a big bag full of books and snacks and just stay all there. And I I saw myself as someone I was falling in love with. And then that was only once I really developed that relationship with self was when I met my husband, because he was attracted to my better energy rather than my desperate energy of seeking a
Yes.
mate to complete me.
Yes. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I developed it through my relationship with my husband,
Yes. Well, because you're so young too. So you would, because that's when you start developing that in your 20s. Yeah.
but then I did a lot of work. A lot of
Yeah.
work. Like
Yeah.
you. Like you.
But that's tough when you're raising 4 children at that age to be doing the work. That would have been an elevated experience. I sort of had the space to just be on my own and do it. So that was must have been extra tough, but extra rewarding too, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Once they
Yeah.
were in
Yeah.
school and all of that, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a little more
Yeah.
chance to free up.
I always say that I adore my son and the stage you're at, but I very much look forward to the school days where I can get just a few hours to myself, and then,
Yeah, yeah.
still have that relationship with him. Yeah, because the relationship with self is a little minimal at the moment, Karen. I'm not going to lie.
No, no.
Let me ask you: many people consciously or unconsciously seek love, comfort, and validation from external sources, like I was just saying with seeking, a romantic partnership. Can you talk us through why the relationship with the self is a basis for a full life?
Like it was similar to what you said. I don't think in most cases, I think for me it was an exception. My husband, I grew through the relationship, but I don't think that's common. Um,
I
uh,
agree with you. I don't think it is.
it
Yeah.
is usually most good relationships come when you're a whole, he's
Yes.
a whole. And then
Yes.
you can combine those forces together
Yeah.
and it's the best, right? That's the
Yeah.
external,
Yeah.
but you have found yourself in your own self-love, like you said, taking yourself out to the park, all of that. That's beautiful. That's the way we should feel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But also, I always say there's no perfect set of circumstances. So we have to sort of make do with the circumstances we have and build it from there. So it might have been ideal, my set of circumstances, but everyone's is different, don't you think? And you sort of have to learn to develop that relationship with or without people around you.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, what are some ways that we can reconnect with the self?
Well, like you were talking about also is just the normal ones are like meditation. And the more you get into meditation, the deeper you go into the subconscious. I was a certified hypnotherapist. I specialized in conversational hypnotherapy, which just puts people, my clients at that time, I'm retired, but it puts people at that time into a more relaxed state of being where we
Yeah.
would do visualization and we would do all kinds of deeper work, which which went deeper into their subconscious. And what I did was I would ask them their affirmations that they wanted to work on. And for
From the
about
deep
10,
state of hypnosis, you would ask them from
before,
there?
no, I'm
Before.
sorry. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
For about 15 minutes before we started, the
Okay.
hypnosis part was about 10 minutes, not a long
Yeah.
time. And then I knew what they wanted to concentrate on. I wrote it all down. And then when they
Mm.
were feeling nice and relaxed in a comfortable chair with a nice blanket and feeling really good, lights turned down, then I would put in those positive affirmations. And
Okay. Well, I'm a very big fan of hypnotherapy. And I actually forgot to mention that was one of the things I started when I was in that abusive relationship. I started going to, he just saved my life. I've gone to him on and off for years, but I was able to sort of, he even got me into a state of me at my own funeral, like to sort of scare me into leaving the relationship. And it absolutely worked because I left not long after that. But for me, it's worked very much, but can you explain as a professional why hypnosis works so much for people with things like, finding the self or quitting smoking? Is it because you're put into such a relaxed state? Whereas, if in our everyday, we're sort of in our heads, aren't we? We're very busy and we're not really conscious because there's so much going on. So is it that hypnosis relaxes you so much that it's easier to talk to is it subconscious or unconscious you're talking
I
to?
feel like it's definitely more of a heart experience, right? And I'm sure you've
Okay.
experienced that. So
Yeah.
that it when it comes from the heart, we can spend a lot of time in our mind, but it's got to transfer for it to
Yeah.
really take hold. And that's what
Yeah.
that can do for us.
It felt like a safe space, and I can even picture the room so much. Like, it was just I think I just was able to go into such a deep state of relaxation that I felt safe.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a beautiful room. I often picture it if I'm going through a bad time. I'm in that room.
That's
Everything's good.
nice. I have a
Yeah.
favorite place too. It's
Do
important to
you?
have. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was a very little girl. I think I've always had a bit of anxiety. My mum used to talk me through, and I always pictured myself in this beautiful under this big tree and just this beautiful little lake and my cocker spaniel next to me on a rug. Like, and I still go to that happy place. It makes me feel really, really good. Once you accept and love the self, how crucial is a sense of community and connection with others?
I think it's very, very important. I think that it's most important to be with like-minded people. The last thing we
Yes.
want to be is in a community with some people toxic to us, especially once we've achieved that goal finally in our lives of being healthy and having that self-love. So I try very hard to put boundaries around myself so that if I'm around toxic people, I know to not have them as part of that community. But overall,
Hmm.
it's very, very nice to have a community of people who understand and think like, that have a, the same kinds of feelings like we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why those mother groups are so successful. Like here in Sydney, they'll sort of patch you up with women in your area who are the same sort of age going through. And you need people at that same stage of life to connect with, and because they understand what you're going through. So I think that's what you mean, like-minded people or going through a similar set of circumstances. It makes you feel seen. And yeah, it's very comforting. But boundaries, I agree with you, are very important. And that's something I talk about frequently in most episodes. But and I agree with there's a lot of toxic people and that you can't have a happy or successful life if you're being dragged down. But I've also come to a place where I sort of am trying not to label that as well and remove the judgment and be like constantly reassessing relationships in my life and realizing that you might have just outgrown a relationship. So that might not be that there's anything wrong with that person or anything wrong with me. It's more that your values are just misaligned at this age, whereas they were perfect in your 20s. And then it's sort of time to move on lovingly to the next place. Do you find that?
I love that. Because you're right, it isn't
Yeah.
about judgment.
Yeah.
Not all the time unless they're
Yeah.
incredibly, all of a sudden you realize they're incredibly snobbish or
Yeah.
whatever, and then you
Yeah.
just can't even, and
Yeah.
maybe you did for a while, but now that you've, seen who you are more clearly, you say,
Yeah.
why did I even deal with them?" So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I always question, how do you feel after you've spent time with people, whether it's online or in person? And your body knows how you want to feel is the best thing to tap into. And when you're around people that feel like pure sunshine, it's just a no brainer that they're your people. Whereas some people just make you have that shallow breathing or feel heaviness on your chest. It's just time to have a break or
Yeah.
a
But
real.
I like the fact that you don't jump to judgment. That's very important.
No, yeah, I did. This is Steph in her 40s now tries to remove the judgment because I've got issues too. They're probably needing boundaries from me as well. Okay.
Me too.
Can you, yeah, we're human. Can you talk us through how can we regulate our emotions?
Well, I think the best way to regulate our emotions is by being authentic. I'm sure you've had felt that before, but it's by feeling our feelings and being in congruence with those feelings. So our actions and our thoughts, our actions, and our mental thoughts are everything is in a set of
Alignment.
yes, you said it.
Yeah.
And then we start to really have that self-love again, which stops the black and white thinking, which keeps the emotions from flying up and down and can keep us on that balance level.
I love what you just said with the black and white thinking, because that's something I used to do all the time. And I'm always saying now, like I said, with the no judgment, life is full of gray. And this is the problem I'm seeing with the world, with, Democrats versus Republicans, men versus women, people who care about the planet, people who don't. Life's full of gray, and we need to stop being so us versus them. And it needs to be understanding things from a different perspective and having that better communication. I really agree with that. Authenticity keeps coming up with everything, even manifestation. I think there's a sense of you're lying or cheating to yourself when you're not being authentic. And I always
Mm,
feel like the worst person you can let down is yourself, because you can fake it. Some people, I'm interviewing actually a really good manifesting author after this, and I was reading in her book where she had a boss, and he said, you're saying all the right words, but your energy is not matching what you're saying. And she's like, he wasn't wrong. And I have felt that, when you've tried to fake things, but you're just not feeling it.
yeah.
And I do that a lot. I've, I have no poker face. My friends tell me all the time, when you're, when you're pissed off and when you're upset, it's so obvious. I find it really hard. That's something I'm learning to do in as I get older. I'm not old, but as I age, to to just be more honest with myself and be authentic
We
and
are
without
kindred
apology.
spirits because
Yeah.
everyone says, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yeah.
That's authentic, right? We
Yeah.
are
What
being authentic.
what star sign are you? Are you a water sign or
I'm a
something?
Libra with a
No,
moon
you're
in
a Libra. You just said it
Scorp
was your
with a
birthday.
moon in Scorpio. What about you?
I'm a Cancerian. I thought mine was in Virgo, but I just found it was Sagittarius, which explains my more career prowess. So I'm, I'm learning things about myself this year, but I am the quintessential emotional,
You're a
sensitive
water
Cancerian.
sign.
Yeah, very, very, very water sign. My husband is, my son is, my parents are, my best friend. Like I'm surrounded by sensitivity and emotion. It's hilarious. But no, I love what you said there. Authenticity is absolutely the buzzword of 2025. In your book, you reference that I quote, social media can create echo chambers that reinforce conformity as well as present idealized versions of reality that can make individuality seem less valued. Whilst on the flip side, creating opportunities for self expression and connecting with like minded people. I loved that line so much. How important is it for us to tap into our individuality and uniqueness? Because I've been referencing a lot lately. I don't know about where you are, but in Sydney, every woman is dressing the same lately. Everyone, and especially in sort of the wealthier areas, everyone's got the linen. Actually, I'm wearing that today. I'm trying to be comfy, but I find that sense of individuality is getting less and less, like the crazy earrings, and I think it's a really nice thing to tap into that. What's your take?
So my take is that I wrote a book. My sixth book is called The Illusion of Perfection.
Oh,
And one of the chapters is on social media because
mhm,
there's benefits like listening to our podcasts or yours. And the benefits are saying and hearing it's fine. It's good to be your unique self. And you don't
yeah,
have to conform. Please don't
yeah,
conform. Just be you in this
yeah,
world of conformity. So there's positives to social media, but the negatives are when everyone's in a bikini and everyone's
mhm,
been airbrushed and people think, especially in their 20s, that that's the way the world is going to look. So they start to feel bad about who they are in that conforming world. No one really
mm,
lives like that. No one really is like that. So, I believe in social media in terms of the helpful side and the
yeah.
positive it can do, but not in the conforming side. No.
I agree. Take what you want from it and leave the rest. But especially when it's on women and appearances, it honestly it hasn't evolved that much. It's like we've made all this progress. I was listening to the Call Her Daddy podcast yesterday with Victoria Beckham. I've only listened to a couple of her episodes and I loved that so much. But, Victoria Beckham was in bullied all through school, but then she was bullied all through her adult life from the media. And she was either Porky Spice or Skeletal Spice because she was too thin. You literally can't win as a woman. You're either too big or too athletic and muscular or too thin or, like the thicker laminated eyebrows are in now. My eyebrows don't grow. Like this is like eyeshadow. In the 90s, it was the thin eyebrows. So I'm like, I hate that there's trends based on our physical appearances. Like a little while ago on TikTok, something about a thigh gap. And I'm like, are we really going back to that? Like my thighs have never felt a gap. There's no such thing as a gap in my thighs. But
Yeah.
women's bodies are not trends and they shouldn't be things that are in. And it's more just, do you like that style of clothing on you? Great, go with it. Like I'm sick of the trends. It really just makes you feel like you're not good enough. So I guess it's just up to us to not bite and not conform.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
I've always kind of dressed in this nonconformist style. I'd call it almost kind of bohemian,
Yeah.
except when I'm
Yeah.
on a podcast. And so it doesn't care how old I am because it's more
Yeah.
romantic, which is
Yeah.
me. That's suited
Yeah.
me forever. I was talking to my cousin and she said, sometimes I'll go into like a department store and I'm like, oh, that's Karen.
That's
She can,
Karen.
it's got lace and velvet. It doesn't matter what decade it
Yes.
is. It's just
Yeah.
me.
But do you find, well, I sort of evolve as I age, whereas, it used to be, I loved that boho sort of stuff. And then I've always loved lots of black and jumpsuits and tight because I've always been so fit. But now postpartum, it's all about the loose, relaxed,
Definitely.
comfortable, like relaxed linen fit pants and sandals. And, like I'm working from my living room. I'm not going to dress up. I'm all
Same
about
thing.
comfort. Can you briefly talk us through the benefits of mantras, affirmations, and mindfulness? I'm a very
Yeah.
big fan of mantras and affirmations because I'm a Louise Hay fan, which I
And
reckon
I
you probably
think
are
that
too.
that helps a lot with the self-love, right?
Yeah.
Um, so if I'm a firm believer, you can't say to yourself, you are wonderful. I love and accept you. Anything you feel like you're lacking, I am proud of myself. I am good enough, more than good enough. Whatever, to a mirror 100 times a day. It
Mm,
doesn't make you conceited.
hmm.
It just, especially if you're reading my book, it's helping those that are lacking in that, really. And so all the help and I was too. So all the help we can give ourselves, it's very important to just say it all the time. It'll start to hit here from the
It
mind. If we
does.
say, oh, it's only hitting the mind, it'll start to sink into the heart.
It
And
does.
meditation,
Yeah.
my son's a meditation teacher, and
Wow.
he has blossomed. He had some
Mm.
issues with self-love. He's gay, and he had some, trauma around that.
Yeah, it's a hard
And
transition even today.
yeah, it is.
Mm.
It is. And when he started into meditation and as a meditation teacher, he really, really learned a lot about self-love by just going deeper into that. So I'm very much a believer in meditation.
Yeah. I like what you said about mirror work. That Louise Hay always talks about that. She used to keep a mirror in her bra and pull it out and talk to herself, which I love. I always keep a tissue in my bra. But I do affirmations every day and I still find mirror work confronting. I actually did it yesterday. I've had a tough couple of weeks and hormones and I felt a bit teary and I did some affirmations in the mirror and it was very powerful. It really hit home. It's really hard, but I think everyone should definitely do it. It's something about you can't hide anything when you look in your own eyes, can you? There's no place to hide. So
No,
everything
not at
comes
all.
up, but in a beautiful way.
And everyone can actually take a few of their very favorite, what it is important to them individually,
Yeah,
and use those and just say it over and over again. Because everyone has a little bit
absolutely.
different.
Yeah, I switch them up all the time, but I tend to always start with I love and approve of myself exactly as I
There
am. I
you
feel like
go.
you can't go wrong with that.
That's mine.
I feel like that's where I start, and then they all change throughout the day. But yeah, very, very important. Well, Karen, I'll end by asking you. This podcast is all about giving back to the self, and I'm sure that's something that you work on a lot. What's something you'll be doing in the next week, or what's something you generally like to do to fill up your own cup?
Well, feel like I love being on podcasts. It's really enjoyable. I was a speech communications major in college, and I really enjoyed it. So even though I'm shy, so you'd go like, because I'm shy in a new environment with small groups, actually.
Yeah.
Pets. I enjoy speaking. Like I've enjoyed speaking
Yes.
with you today so much.
Yeah.
And that to me, especially when we're talking about such an important subject, if we
Yeah.
can help others, that's all that
It
matters.
does. It does fill up your cup. I feel like I've had a very beautiful, rewarding year this year because I'm connecting with so many like-minded light workers, and you just leave on a high. And last night I was so stressed because we have such a busy weekend. I was saying to my husband, we have so much work on. And he said, "Oh, we got a slow morning tomorrow." And I said, "I have two back-to-back podcasts." He goes, "Yeah, but that's not work. That's enjoyable." I said, "That's true." So even though it's something I have to do, it's
Yeah.
something I just enjoy to do so much.
Right. Like I said, my kids are having a party for me for my birthday tonight. So yeah, it's nice.
How lovely. Well,
Yeah.
happy birthday. I hope it's a
I'm
wonderful
lucky.
time. Yeah.
Thank you
I
so
really
much.
appreciate you being on this podcast. And for everyone on YouTube, here's that book again that I read, but you have soon to be 8 books. So I'm going to link everything in the show notes. And where's the best place for everyone to find you, Karen?
Amazon by Karen Blaine. They can quickly just, would it be on Australia? I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It's worldwide.
Yeah.
We definitely
Yeah.
get
Yeah. It's on
perfect. Might take
Canada.
a
It's
little
on
longer to get
London.
here,
Yeah.
but we definitely have it. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so
Right.
much, Karen, for being here and sharing your beautiful messages. It's a beautiful
You're so
journey you're
welcome.
on. And
This was a blast. It was a lot of fun.
oh, thank you. But I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
your book. I really
You
felt
as
very
well.
much on the journey with you. It was beautiful. So thank you everyone for listening. And please do something in the next week to fill up your cup.